Okay guys, Falter on Recordia. Just got a chance there to look at the higher level Irish paper 2 exam online. So I've written down a couple of my thoughts here about the exam paper. We'll start off here with question 1. It was about policy náisiúnta na nGileán. Basically what that means is the policies, the national policies about Ireland. Look, as the title goes, it's probably a bit more challenging than there has been in the last couple of years. In the last couple of years, we've got comprehensions about famous people who have passed away, and we get to read about those, which are kind of simpler. It's probably a little bit harder. The 6A question was a Brigher Ser, I'm sure Ashtonuk, and the other one was Bresh Came na Hadiachta. In case you don't understand what Bresh Came na Hadiachta means, that is the comparative of an adjective, so like nismo, nisfar, an example of something like that. And the 6Bs for both questions this year were a little bit different. I think they kind of gave us a taster last year with the question. This year it says, on policy ma'i, is this a good policy? Is it a good policy, what you've just read about here? So it was up to you to say, Vishay Gama or Tashe Gama or Nilshay Gama. You would probably get 2 marks for expressing an opinion on that. And then you would get 5 and 5 for having 2 reasons to back that up. That's usually the way that's broken down. Second comprehension was about an Intellect Herga, which means artificial intelligence. Again, a rather difficult title, although at the end of the first paragraph you've seen something about ChatGPT, which would probably let a lot of you know, and you probably would have realised then you were looking at artificial intelligence, AI. The 6A question was a verb in the Mokaniluk, and the second part of it was a Brigher Ser, I'm sure Lahra, which is a free verb in the present tense. They're fairly straightforward, nothing too complicated there. Next one is give 2 insights, meaning let's explain 2 insights you got about AI, i.e. what did you learn from this? Can you pick out 2 bits of information that you've learned something from? It's not too dissimilar from the effect this had on you, except it's what did you learn from this? So the 2 6Bs will be hard. Remember though, if you wrote anything at all, they're going to try and give you marks. They are, when we correct these exams, we are usually trying to award students marks. But if you wrote anything at all for these, you know, you've confidence that you are going to get marks. Question 2 was probably the strangest question of all. This exam is running since, 2013, and they've never repeated anything on paper 2 years in a row. And this is the first year they have. Now, they didn't really throw anyone under the bus because the 2 pieces of prose that did not appear last year were Harlamabuk and Cock and Millish. They were the 2 that I really focused in on with my own classes. I revised both at the end of the year. And one of them came up. Cock and Millish was the one that came up. They also put Deesh on the exam. Not many students will have studied Deesh really well. Not many students will have been expecting it. So you can be sure that Cock and Millish will be the chosen question there. The question was very nice. It was about the relationship between the characters and the tragedy at the end. Very straightforward question. The relationship's not good and the tragedy could have been avoided. Question 3 for the poetry was exactly how I had hoped it would have went. Gavin came up, which I think 90% of the country will answer on. For 15 marks, they had a contrast question. For 6 marks, they had a question they'd never asked before, but I'd worked on with my own students the last couple of weeks, was about personification. If you looked at the deferred exam from last year, they kind of had a similar question for 6B for Gavin. And the last question was, who composed this poem? Write a short note about the life and the work of the poet. On Tarakir was the other one, and this question was probably a little bit harder than the Gavin question, so I think most students will have answered Gavin. And Phila Equiv Nashir, the poet, remembering back about his youth. Avra's repetition, they're okay, they're not too bad at all. And the last question was, pick 2 adjectives from this poem and tell me the importance of them. And that question would have thrown students. I think some people would have been able to do it, but when they had the choice of Tarakir or Gavin, they would definitely have gone for Gavin. And for question 4, we're going to look at a trio. That's the question I prepare my own students for, both in my day school classes and in my grinds classes. And it said it's more on Noira. It's more on Chunnaker Atá ag an Noira ar an Guia Gahan na character leis on Galín og na Fósta. So that Noira shame or embarrassment has a huge influence or has a huge impact in why the characters treat this young unmarried girl. All you're saying there is that why do the characters act in a certain mean, terrible way to Moira? Because of shame or embarrassment. And who are they ashamed? They're ashamed of what their neighbours will think, and they're ashamed of what the church will think. It's a society question as such, and you still have to tell me why they acted poorly and how they acted poorly and how they were mean, how they were uncharitable towards her. What they did is because they were worried about their image, their reputation, so their Iava, Call, and they were worried about Torami, Nagorson, opinions of the neighbours. You could worry also about the opinions of the church as well, Torami and Hagrisha. So if you've got any of those kind of points in there and you have examples of them treating Moira in a poor manner, you're good to go. Guys, well done. You've now finished Irish paper 2, you've finished all 3 parts of your Irish exam, the 2 written exams and the Irish oral. Congratulations, I hope you're very happy with your exams and best of luck in the remaining ones for Aris Longafall.